Welcome to the podcast where relationships, confidence, and determination all converge into an amazing, heartfelt experience. This is Speaking from the Heart.
Welcome back to episode number 179 of Speaking from the Heart. This is it, the last episodes of 2024 coming up, and this is the first of two in which I want to break down New Year's. It's a time in which we are always struggling to figure out what is it that we want to set? What is it that we want to do? And I think after going through 2024, for many of us, at least from what I've seen in my own world, it's been a very tough year for a number of people. So how can we get over what is on our mind? And how can we move forward with setting goals and being able to do the things that we need to do? So in the next episode, we'll talk about the latter. But we're going to talk about now how we can make sure that as we wrap up this year, that we don't let this ruin our mood, that we don't let this feel like it's pushing us back, setting us aside, making us feel incapable of being able to change what is in our life. But let's be honest, it's very easy for us to get swayed, to be pushed into this bubble of thinking that we are not going to have yet another year turn on us, and we have to now go through yet again what it is that is pushing us over the edge, making us think, what have I done this year? Have I even accomplished anything? I think that we need to reframe what we're thinking of when it is about quality and even quantity for that matter. They usually go hand in hand, and we've even talked about in many other episodes of why it can be so difficult to separate the two. But even if we looked at quantity and quality of what we've been able to achieve this year, I don't think that's really the measurement that we want to have. What we should really be thinking about is how we can be able to think differently than where we were in the beginning of the year. And it's funny because I had to look back on a number of episodes that I've done earlier this year that challenged not only what I've been through, what I have been working on in terms of my goals for this year, but also seeing what is ahead. What are some things that I was able to do after I set that path forward? And it's amazing to me what I have seen in my own transformation, even doing this show, even working with the people that I have had been so fortunate in working with this year. But even then, the connections that I've made that will only allow me to grow even further. Entering year 3 of Your Speaking Voice LLC, which is something that we'll talk about once we hit 2025, has been an amazing opportunity for me to reflect on not just what I've been able to do, but also how myself, Josh Smith, has changed. And I think that's really what this is about. Can we see what growth is from the point in which we stood at one measurable moment to now see where we're at now, another measurable moment? I think that those aspects, those things that we are trying to look at from the bigger context of our personal, professional, public speaking, business lives, maybe even working on your own podcast for that matter. All those things can be measurable results. But what really matters is in your soul, in your heart, what is it that you've been able to change? What is it that you've been able to make in terms of success so that you are able to keep on moving ahead, to keep on seeing what it is that you've been able to do to keep working on yourself? I think this is a time where you can even have other people at the table in which you're talking about this. You're discussing what it is that you've been able to do. It's not easy to do, though. It means that you have to be accepting of feedback from others, which is something that we have covered in the last few months on several episodes of how to achieve that, how you can have those people at the table. But even if we look ahead and we figure out what it is that we need to set goals around, or how we've been too hard on ourselves, and we have to change our tune in order for us to be able to succeed, we have to find ways in which we reframe ourselves. We are able to say that this is not going to be the year that throws me off towards my goals. This will not be the year in which someone else steps in front of my path and blocks me from achieving that all-important success. I think it's so easy for us to say, let's write down some goals. Let's do this one way or another. But I think we need to really look at how is it that it's being viewed? What is it that we're trying to do that allows us to not be ruined anymore by anybody's perception, way of thinking, or even ourselves for that matter, because we can stand in our own ways. It's very hard to be able to put to words what this looks like from time to time. And even talking about this, even for me, can be very challenging because from a personal context, this has been a very challenging 2024 for me. While on the business end, has been one of the most successful years yet, and I continuously am thrilled about how much growth I've seen just from the number of people I've worked with. But is this enough? Is this something that we're able to really dive into? Are we really able to get to the root of what it is that we're really working on? Yet, at the same time, can we be held back from our own attitudes, our own beliefs of what it means to be successful? And I think the answer is yes. We can be held back. It's not easy sometimes for life to go by thinking that we haven't done enough. Even myself, being the worst critic that I am, can be very hard, be very temperamental, be very judgmental about the number of things that I wish I could have done, the things in which I could have changed so that I would have been even more successful, the things that I've said to people, the reactions that I had when I lose my own self, whether that was through business, whether that is through something that happened in a personal relationship, or a combination thereof. I know that I haven't been able to push the envelope, and next year, I'm looking forward to changing my attitude when it comes to not only the people that I have let down, but also trying to find ways and new paths in 2025 to grow in my own way. Being able to see that there is a bigger world out there that has yet to be untapped. We can live in our own bubble. We can be so ashamed, be afraid of what it looks like to step outside of our comfort zone. But if we're not able to do that, ladies and gentlemen, that's why we're stuck in where we are. That's why every time when we see that ball drop at Times Square in New York, that's why it's so difficult for us to be able to say to ourselves, great, another year, another opportunity to screw this up. Those people are not the people that you want to surround yourself with. That's not your tribe. Your tribe has to be full of people that are vested in not just you, but also the exciting opportunities that are ahead. So if there's anything that you could ever do to start out with this journey in the new year so that you feel much more confident about yourself, it's about examining who's on your Facebook list, who's following you on all the social medias, Snapchat, X, even TikTok for that matter, even if it gets banned in the United States. But even then, what is it that you're surrounding yourself with so that you are able to put your best foot forward? That could be one of the very easy steps just to get that momentum started in the new year. Even as I ponder this mood, this attitude that I want to have, it isn't just about the people that I surround myself with. It's not just about what I could read. It isn't about what I could listen to. It's about the excitement, the enthusiasm of someone actually succeeding, seeing that they are doing something for themselves that maybe they were held back for so long and weren't able to do before. Those sort of things, those sort of challenges, those perceptions of what it is that keeps on pushing us into the corner, making us feel inadequate, not being able to keep ourselves moving forward, might be even some of the ways in which we give ourselves pity. We give ourselves this space to say, yes, we might not have all the things in the right place, and we might be starting off in the wrong foot for the new year, but I'm going to give myself a little bit of breathing room so that I don't have to listen to anything else that anybody has to say. Why does it matter what I am going through so that I am able to figure out what it is that I need to do? Why do I keep pushing myself and yet I'm getting no results? Well, that's simple. Because you're giving yourself way too much space in order for yourself to not even see that you have these opportunities if you're willing to grind and work hard. Recently, I've come across an article which talked about the importance of even having that interpersonal communication, the ability for us to talk. It's sad because over the last 20, 30 years, with the advent of cell phone technology, SMS, or even text messaging as it's better well known for, and even the things that we see online, being able to not have that kind of interaction with others anymore is really impacting a new generation coming up. I'm not just talking about the Gen Zers, but even the generations that are before that are rising to power. Those are the people that are starting to see the cracks. Those are the ones that are being disconnected. They don't know how to think critically, speak interpersonally, and be able to carry a conversation, small talk for that matter, because in this world in which we're very poignant with our text, we get right to the point. We've lost the art of actually communicating. As a public speaking coach, it hurts me so much that this work is needed in this new generation because we haven't spent enough time thinking about how we can communicate more effectively. And of course, the pandemic, a generation in which was impacted forever and ever because of being isolated, has certainly shifted the attitudes and the framework of what it means to actually interact with others. It means working from home remotely, getting on our cameras and our microphones so that we could talk to each other. But who actually does that? Who actually wants to have that conversation? Who actually wants to carry forward? Because sometimes we might be too hard on ourselves. We might be setting goals with the enthusiasm behind it. But if there's nobody to actually talk to about it, what's the point? Why should we even care? Because it's going to ruin our mood. Why is it even necessary to talk to someone? I have the answer for that. You see, in the whole vision of why I started Your Speaking Voice, it wasn't just about what we say, it's about what we do. And it's been very much a point, even on this podcast, to talk about not only the things that you can say, but also the things that you can do. Every single episode, one way or another, puts that framework into action. It allows us to see how we can blur those lines of traditionalism and come up with modern contemporary ways in which we can challenge the status quo. That's been my mission all along, being your podcast host, being a coach, a speaker, and a trainer, helping others to see what that looks like. But it's not easy. It means that you actually have to piss some people off. You might get a good fuck you from somebody, and they might say that you're a piece of shit. I get it. It's not easy in this world, especially when there's a lot of hatred towards actually listening to new ideas. That means change has to occur. But when change is happening to what you might think is a quote-unquote beneficial factor for everybody to participate in, it's not so beneficial. It actually makes things much worse. It makes it much harder. It makes it much more difficult for us to make progress. And I understand why some people are so hesitant about going back to the office, figuring out what it is to have those social cues to interact with others, because I am more productive, quote unquote, when I'm all alone. But are you? How do you think you got here in the first place? You actually had to talk to people, teachers, students, and don't give me that bullshit for those that are out there about homeschooling. I understand that there's a wide variety of opportunities. Having a friend myself, seeing them go on field trips to interact with people in person. So it isn't just about the virtual component. You can't replace it completely. As I've always said, we are by nature political animals. That's at least what Aristotle said, and I got to give him some credit for this. We have to interact. We have to be able to build. That's how we got here. So when we start to isolate ourselves, we're really going back to our roots. We're saying to other people, it doesn't matter what you have to say to me. It doesn't matter what you might feel. It is irrelevant. I'm working on myself. And that's where individuality has its fallacies. How does this all play into New Year's? Simple. If you think that it's going to be as easy as trying to do it all by yourself, good luck to you. But if you really want to challenge yourself, if you really want to grow, it isn't just about getting somebody else, like a coach like myself. It's about getting yourself with a team of people, those that are willing to challenge the status quo that is your life, and being able to say that it is what I want to do. This is what it means for me to keep on moving forward. This is how I keep pressing that needle into the positive direction. The thing is that you have to be open to those possibilities. And you need to wipe off that negative attitude that you have and perceive it from a place of not only growth, but also seeing that there's always an infinite number of choices with an infinite number of possibilities, even when you are rejected. This New Year's is really important for a number of people. It's not just about resetting as we normally think about. It's not just about goal setting, in which we have talked about even last year, in which I encourage you to revisit some of those episodes where we talk about how you can even build your New Year's plan, because they still apply to even this time. And we'll even talk about more of that in our next episode, but with a little bit of a twist. But I have to say to you that even when you feel that your mood is ruined, even when you think that all is lost, even when you're pondering, what have I really done? Don't look at it from a number crunching exercise. Look at it in a way in which you have all these years now behind you. You have this opportunity now to pave the path forward, to right the wrongs that you have done, to be able to learn a new skill, a new ability, some knowledge that you never would have had before. But more importantly, finding that way to move forward, to reframe what we have handled in this year and changing it so that we have a positive, more coherent direction for the new year is all that I'm looking for you to do. Because when we're teetering on the edge of success or failure, success will always win if you have a number of people behind you wanting to grab on, pull you back in, and help you take every single step necessary to become the best version of yourself. Because even when you feel that your mood is crappy, trust me, there's enough to be changed in your life and in your future if you're willing to see what it's all about, if you're willing to stay focused, stay positive, and stop worrying about your mood amongst everybody else's. Thanks for listening to episode number 179 of Speaking from the Heart, and I look forward to hearing from your heart very soon.
Thanks for listening. For more information about our podcast and future shows, search for Speaking from the Heart to subscribe and be notified wherever you listen to your podcasts. Visit us at www.yourspeakingvoice.biz for more information about potential services that can help you create the best version of yourself. See you next time.